46 times. Tom Brady's team was losing in the fourth quarter. 46 times, he brought them back. Every single time. Not occasionally, not in easy games, in playoff games, in championship games, in Super Bowls. 46 times trailing, 46 times walking off the field with a win, the all-time record, by a distance nobody has come close to matching. But Brady did not win these games with his arm. He won them with something defenses could never prepare for, something that got stronger, not weaker, the more pressure he was under. Nobody has ever fully explained what that something was, until now. February 3rd, 2019, Super Bowl 53, New England Patriots versus Los Angeles Rams. Third quarter, 0 points on the board, the lowest scoring Super Bowl in NFL history. Brady's offense had done nothing. The Rams' defense was suffocating, and 70,000 people in that stadium were beginning to wonder if anyone would score at all. Then Brady drove the Patriots down the field. Sony Michel, 2-yard touchdown, 3-0. The Rams never scored again. Brady won his 6th Super Bowl at 41 years old, the oldest quarterback to win a championship in NFL history. But what most people missed was what Brady's face looked like on the sideline during those 3 scoreless quarters. Not frustrated, not anxious, not concerned. Calm, completely, utterly, mysteriously calm. Could like a man who already knew how the story ended and was simply waiting for the rest of the world to catch up. That calm, in the highest pressure moments in football, was not accidental. It was the most dangerous weapon Tom Brady ever had, and it was completely invisible. 46 career fourth-quarter comebacks, the most in NFL history, by any quarterback in any era. Peyton Manning is second with 43. Brady didn't just beat Manning's record, he built it. Over 23 seasons of doing the same thing, every single time his team needed him. But the number that defines Brady completely is not 46, it is 40. 40 times in his career, Brady's team was trailing by 10 or more points. 40 times they came back. 40 times they won, the most in NFL history, by a distance nobody has ever approached. And none of those 40 was more impossible than this. February 5th, 2017, Super Bowl 51, Atlanta Falcons leading, 28-3. In 51 years of Super Bowls, no team had ever come back from 25 points down, not once. Brady sat on the sideline, and he was calm. His offensive coordinator described watching Brady during the 28-3 deficit and seeing a man who looked like he was watching film, not panicking, studying. 34 minutes later, 25 unanswered points, overtime, the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history. How was he that calm? What was happening in his mind that every other quarterback in history never had? Brady described the fourth quarter differently from every other quarterback who ever played. Not as a time of increased pressure, as a time of increased clarity. When the game was on the line, when the margin for error was 0, his mind slowed down. Not sped up, slowed down. The noise disappeared. The crowd disappeared. The scoreboard disappeared. What remained was exactly what he had practiced, exactly what he had prepared for, in thousands of hours of film study and repetition. The science behind this is genuinely remarkable. When human beings train in simulated high-pressure conditions, repeatedly, consistently over years, the brain eventually stops registering that pressure as a threat. It registers it as familiar territory, a known environment, not a crisis. It's just another situation it has already survived 1,000 times before. Brady and Belichick spent years building exactly this. Practices designed specifically to simulate fourth-quarter pressure, 2-minute drills, exhausted players, consequences attached to mistakes. So that when real pressure arrived, Brady's brain had already been there before. He didn't just practice football, he practiced being calm when everyone else was panicking. Over and over and over, for 23 seasons, until calm in a crisis was not a choice, it was a reflex. If this is already changing how you see Brady, subscribe. More stories like this every single week. Here is what nobody ever puts together. Brady's performance metrics, completion percentage, touchdown rate, passer rating, all went up in fourth-quarter comeback situations. not stayed the same. Up, every measurable thing that defines a quarterback. Improved when the pressure was at its absolute highest. This does not happen with other quarterbacks, even great ones. When pressure increases, human performance decreases, cortisol spikes, decision-making slows, muscle memory breaks down. This is documented science. Brady was the exception to documented science. The clearest proof sits in Super Bowl 49. With 2 minutes and 2 seconds remaining, New England trailing by 10, Brady drove 64 yards in 12 plays, scored the touchdown, got his defense the ball back, and gave Malcolm Butler the moment that ended Seattle's dynasty. Brady's completion percentage on that drive, 83%. His highest of the entire game. Not his second highest, his highest. When the game was most on the line, Brady was most accurate. Not despite the pressure, because of it. No statistic captures Brady's fourth quarter mind better than this moment. Super Bowl 53, fourth quarter approaching, Patriots trailing 3-0. 0 offensive touchdowns for either team. 3 scoreless quarters on the biggest stage in football. In the Patriots huddle, Brady looked at his offensive line. Some were frustrated, some were tense, some were carrying the weight of 3 scoreless quarters on their faces. Brady looked at them quietly and told them they had been in this exact place before, that this was exactly where they wanted to be. Not rallying, not screaming, not delivering a movie speech. Quiet, certain, like someone reading a familiar page from a book they had already finished. 13 plays later, the only touchdown of the game belonged to New England. Onto players who shared that huddle described the same experience repeatedly over the years. That playing with Brady in the fourth quarter was the only time in football where doubt simply did not exist. Not because they always won, because Brady's certainty transferred to everyone around him. A quarterback's confidence is contagious. Brady's was an epidemic, and it infected every player who ever shared a huddle with him at the exact moment they needed it most. 46 fourth quarter comebacks, the most in NFL history, but the number is not the story. The number is just the evidence. The story is what was happening inside one man's mind, in the moments when everything was on the line, while 70,000 people screamed, while cameras captured everything, while the weight of championships pressed down on every decision, and Brady got calmer, more precise, more dangerous, more certain. Every other quarterback got tighter. Brady got looser. He did not have a fourth quarter gift that others lacked. He built one, rep by rep, practice by practice, year by year. He trained his nervous system to recognize maximum pressure as a familiar environment, until the moment everyone else feared most became the moment Brady had been waiting for all game. He was not the strongest, not the fastest, well, not the most physically gifted, but in the fourth quarter, when everything was on the line, there has never been a human being on a football field more dangerous than Tom Brady. Not before him, not since. For 23 seasons, defenses prepared for his arm, his legs, his receivers. Nobody prepared for his mind. And that was always the only thing that mattered. Brady never needed the fourth quarter to be easy. He needed it to be on the line. Because that was when his mind did what 23 years of preparation had built it to do. Not a quarterback playing football, a man executing a plan he had already decided would work before the quarter even started. Some players rise to the moment. Brady had spent 23 seasons making sure the moment rose to meet him. Leave one word below that describes what Brady was in the fourth quarter. Just one word. Subscribe for more NFL stories where the game reveals something bigger than football. The next one is already waiting.